What are we doing here? Am I taking crazy pills to say that the Yankees are not as good as they were a year ago, yet they're still getting so much love from the media, so much love from all of the fans, and they're expected to be the last team standing in the American League? Give me a break. The regular season officially gets underway tonight when the Yankees take on the Giants at Oracle Park in San Francisco. It's not truly opening day for me yet because we're only getting one game, and that's the standalone game tonight. So opening day, to me, synonymous with every team playing. Not going to get that this year, but regardless, I am fired up for the game tonight. So let's break down what I think is a worse Yankee team than they were a year ago, and much more on this episode of Answer the Call with Peter Vryonis ahead of opening day on Major League Baseball. Welcome in, everybody, to Answer the Call with Peter Vryonis. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're liking the content. So fired up for my favorite sport in the world to get underway today, and that is Major League Baseball. We got a little bit of a taste with the World Baseball Classic, but nothing truly beats just the best of the best going at it, and the intensity. The intensity in the WBC was off the charts. But we are getting into the real thing right now, and then hopefully we get to see another incredible playoff series, or playoff series between all of those competitive teams that we saw in the postseason. But make sure to hit that subscribe button. But today I am going to talk about the Yankees, who do get their season underway today before everybody else. And let's just get straight into it. This is the roster that they are going to be going with. So you see the pitchers right there, only 3 infielders, which I find to be a little bit weird considering that Ben Rice is going to be a first baseman, and Jose Caballero probably going to be the everyday shortstop here, with the uncertainty around Anthony Volpe and his injury, which we'll get into a little bit later on in the video. But the Yankees are dealing with some stuff heading into the season, as are a lot of teams around Major League Baseball. No one is really immune to some of those bumps and bruises that you pick up along the way in spring training. But I mentioned it in the intro. Am I taking crazy pills to say that this team is not going to be as good as the Yankee team that won 94 games a season ago and that lost to the Blue Jays in the ALDS? Now, granted, it wasn't a good showing for them in the ALDS, but they still had the same record as the Jays did in a 162-game regular season. And as we recall, the Jays went toe-to-toe with the Dodgers, one of the super teams of this era, for 7 games in the World Series. So even though the Yankees weren't up for the test in the playoffs, they still won as many games as the World Series runner-up, and won more games than the Dodgers actually in the regular season. As we know, that doesn't matter because the Dodgers won the crown and whatnot. But am I seriously crazy to think that this team isn't as good as the one that they had a year ago? Full season of Ryan McMahon, I'll give you that. That's fine. But they lost Evan Williams, who, even though didn't have the rosiest of years in New York with the Yankees and now is part of the New York Mets organization, he was still a big part of that. He was still a pretty big part of that team. So that's one critical loss. And then when it comes to the position players, the only notable addition that they made, or the notable move that they made, was to bring back Cody Bellinger, who, if you take a look at his peripheral numbers, not all that great, right? Maybe the metrics aren't too kind on Cody Bellinger. I think he's a damn good player, and I think he's going to have a very good season yet again for the New York Yankees. But it just goes to show you that they didn't really do all that much in the offseason. So for me to fully sit there and believe that with all of these injuries that they have, notably to Carlos Rodon, to Garrett Cole as well, Lewis Hill, who was supposed to be a breakout for them a year ago, now starting the season in AAA, and the list goes on and on. It's a laundry list of things that they are dealing with. I'm supposed to believe that the Yankees are the second best team in the league in Major League Baseball behind the Dodgers? Now, it's remarkable to me that the Dodgers are just over 3-1 odds to win the World Series. It goes to show you how stacked that roster truly is, and it's their World Series to lose. They're going for the three-peat. We haven't seen that in a while. and they might go ahead and do it. But you're really going to tell me that the Yankees are better than the Mariners? That the Yankees are better than the Blue Jays? No, thank you. Now, if you want to put the Mariners ahead of the Blue Jays, go ahead and do that. I think they've had a pretty good offseason. The addition of Brendan Donovan, they're going to be a very good team yet again. But to tell me that the Dodgers are the second best team behind the Dodgers, it doesn't make sense to me. The Yankees are just not in that class, and it all starts with their pitching. This is the rotation that they're going to go with to start their year. Love Max Fried. I think he's due for a bit of a regression. He had a fantastic season a year ago. I don't know if he can sustain that pace heading into 2026. Cam Schlittler. Now, this is the name. I think he is the best pitcher that the Yankees have on their roster when it just comes to pure talent. Cam Schlittler is going to be an absolute dog this season for the Yankees, and I would not be shocked if he has better numbers than Max Fried, than Garrett Cole, and Carlos Rodon by the end of the year. But they are going with a 4-man rotation to open up their season. There are some off days in there, so they're going to be able to manage, and they do expect to get Carlos Rodon back in the lineup by April. That's what Aaron Boone said. I expect him back at some point in April. Now, that's not too long of a time to go with just 4 starters, but it shows you the lack of depth that the Yankees currently have at that position. And they're going to be tough to find some innings. And their bullpen leaves a little bit to be desired as well. Fernando Cruz was a great story a year ago. Camilo Doval struggled when he first came in, but hopefully you could get a bounce-back season from him for the Yankees this season. And then David Bednar is now their closer. A guy who had a couple of down seasons in Pittsburgh, regained his form, and I thought was really good for the Yankees in the playoffs, and really good for USA at the World Baseball Classic too. So I have full faith in David Bednar being able to man that closer's position, because he did it for a while with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now the problem is, how do you get it to him in the 9th inning? Can Fernando Cruz replicate what he did a year ago? Can Tim Hill continue to be that lefty specialist that he was a season ago? I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns in that bullpen at the moment when I take a look at the Yankees roster. I'm not necessarily worried for them. I think they'll be fine when it comes to a regular season landscape. But to go ahead and say that they are the second best team in Major League Baseball, I think that's asinine. I think it's ludicrous. I think it's absurd. Use whatever word you want to use. I think it is a joke that the Yankees are second in World Series odds behind the Dodgers. And then you can do the math, of course. They're the favorite to win their division. Not an overwhelming favorite. I mean, they're plus 160. And the Blue Jays are a plus 220 or something in that range. So the Jays are right there behind them. And Vegas is giving credit to Toronto for the season that they had a year ago. But when I take a look at the two rosters in a nutshell, I think Toronto got better this offseason. You could say that they lost a lot of offense with Bo Bichette going out the door, but I think their defense got significantly better with Andres Jimenez now making the permanent move to shortstop. And then Kazuma Okamoto, who you may say is an unknown, but I don't think so. I mean, he's 29 years old and has enjoyed pretty great success in the NPB with the Yomiuri Giants, one of the most popular players in Japan. And I think he's pretty much a very safe bet heading into the season. So I'm not worried about Kazuma Okamoto. Now, what kind of production you're going to get from him? I think the floor is really high for him. I don't know how high the ceiling is. That remains to be seen. So that is the unknown in a sense. But Okamoto can come in and replace Bo Bichette's offense, I think. I really believe that will be the case. I expect a better season from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as well than what he had in the regular season, and I expect a bit of regression from George Springer. So, all that being said, I think the Blue Jays offense should remain the same, status quo, but their pitching got a lot better. They brought in Taylor Rogers. They brought in Dylan Cease, of course, with one of the biggest contracts in franchise history. So they are well equipped, I think, to handle all of those injuries that they're dealing with, whereas the Yankees, I don't know if they're very well occupied to do that. Well equipped, I should say. I don't know if the Yankees are well equipped to deal with the laundry list of injuries that they have in their pitching department. The Blue Jays have 8 starting pitchers. And Eric Lauer was supposed to be in their bullpen. Now he's starting. They re-signed Max Scherzer, Cody Ponce, Kevin Gausman, and Dylan Cease. They haven't missed a start in years. So you're getting those 2 guys at the top of your rotation. I think I like where the Blue Jays are at a lot better than where the Yankees are currently at. The Yankees didn't make any additions. Not really, at least. They didn't make very many additions. I think they'll be better off with Jose Caballero at shortstop, but apart from that, what has changed? Besides losing Devin Williams and gaining a full season of Ryan McMahon. I don't know. Maybe I'm taking crazy pills, but I don't think the Yankees should be deemed as the second best team in baseball behind the Los Angeles Dodgers after they seem to be so far off of the Blue Jays and have so many holes on their roster in that ALDS series where they lost in 4 games and quite frankly should have been swept. So let me know in the comment section down below, and feel free to disagree with me if you're a Yankee fan and are jacked up for the season to start tonight against the Giants. But I really believe in what I'm saying right now. I think the Yankees are going to be good and competitive in the regular season, but to say that they are unequivocally the second best team in Major League Baseball, I think that's nuts. And that could be a little bit of Yankee bias, knowing that people are going to bet on them and the lines may be moving in that sense. But to say that they're better than the Mariners or the Yankees or the Blue Jays, sorry, I think that's crazy. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below and make sure to hit that subscribe button. I will see you all in the video tomorrow.